makes me wanna, makes me wanna, your love makes me wanna, makes me wanna, your love makes me wanna, your love makes me wanna, makes me wanna.
Hello, 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 and welcome to In the Mix with yours truly, Jeannie Ortega, and I'm coming to you today from the Sunshine State, Orlando, Florida. It is my honor to be your host today on TBN Salsa. I want to take this time to say thank you to Matt and Lori Crouch, as well as Reverend Samuel Rodriguez for giving us another opportunity to boast on God. You know, with the show, it's my heart to highlight people in movies, music, media, and ministry that are doing things for the kingdom of God. The Bible says every good and perfect gift comes from God, right? But it also says that God has given each and every one of us a gift to share with each other as good stewards of His amazing grace. So today I get to introduce you to somebody that's doing just that. I'm so excited because I've known him for years, and now we get to sit down and talk about all the amazing things that God is doing. He is an award-winning artist, founder and CEO of One Alliance Group from Guatemalan descent. Give it up, everybody, for my homeboy, Pablo Villatoro, singing his song, I'm Gonna Live.
Yeah. We're gonna praise God on this joint right here. Y'all ready? Yeah. I've been minding my business, turning the other cheek, but y'all pushing my limits, so it's my time to speak. So I'm gonna live, but ain't gonna regret it. The squad's all in and yeah, we bout to get it. So I'm gonna live, gon' regret it. The squad's all in and yeah, we bout to get it. So I'm gon' y'all screaming summer 16, but the winner proves who's king. I stack chips, no bling, the home team don't sip no lean. We go live when it's go time, no lie, shout out to the most high. Y'all jokers gotten out of line, I came back to tell y'all goodbye. Y'all waiting till your feelings, y'all lacking context and your content, don't know what you're building. It's contradictory, homie, and it don't sound appealing to all these corny rappers just yapping while I'm your villain. I'm trying to raise all these children. Y'all spitting nonsense on the constant. I'm like, when's it stopping? You frown on ISIS, but spread violence, and you think that's popping. They trying to keep us at the bottom. Y'all ain't solving nothing. I sit back, looking else here now. They soon to be forgotten. I'm out of your league. I'm harder to please. I'm falling for these phonies. These rappers believe in only their greed, but we paying their mortgage. How passive are we that we do not see the consequences causing? I had to come see that we put an end to all the bull they talking. Been minding my business, turning the other cheek, but y'all pushing my limits, so it's my time to speak. So I'm gon' live, but ain't gon' regret it. The squad's all in and yeah, we bout to get it. The squad gon' live, but ain't gon' regret it. The squad's all in and yeah, we bout to get it. So I'm gon' live. Prophet Kanye prophesied it, this is the life of Pablo. So I'm writing these visions down just like John and Patmos. And I know y'all ain't used to this Picasso, but I got to raise the volume, cause a lot of you ain't about to. So I'ma ride through with the A1. I'm a nice dude, but don't play dumb, cause I got goons or favors, but I'ma choose right. No anger or hate, cause I want better. I was laying low off the radar, till I noticed these cats were scared of pushing the limits for greater. Get your paper, leave a legacy. I ain't talking about just a set of keys or some hot girls that you finna leave and popping bottles. When you got mouths to feed, we got hollow. Just an idols, they stay dumb and we follow. United States of America, the new land of the shallow. Oh boy, y'all got me saying something, cause a lot of y'all say nothing. Only talk about what you stunting, but I know that you bluffing, so don't play that. If you want heat, then I'll blaze that. How to bring back real rap, in fact, I ain't leaving till we all change that. Let's go. I've been minding my business, turning the other cheek. Pushing my limits, So it's my time to speak. So I'm gon' live and ain't gon' regret it. The squad's all in and yeah, we bout to get it. So I'm gon' live and ain't gon' regret it. The squad's all in and yeah, we bout to get it. So I'm gon' live. So for all of y'all who pursuing a dream, don't get distracted. Don't get distracted by the haters. Stay on course. Stay focused. Keep your eyes on God. Gon' regret it. So I'm in cause we about to get it. So I'm gon' live and ain't gon' regret it. The squad's all in and yeah, we about to get it. So I'm gon' live.
Pablo, that was so lit. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
I'm gonna live.
Yes.
And we got freedom to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
different than just like, chasing the dream and living, but we have so much more. Anyway, if y'all, I've seen Pablo, you've probably seen him as part of Group One crew, former member, like founding member. Pretty much you guys have done so much together. So if you just, it's funny because backstage, somebody was like, I know him from somewhere. And then they were like, oh, I think, yeah. And I was like, yeah, you seen him there, but you're doing your own thing.
Cool, yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm loving it. Let's do this. We'll start with an introduction. If the TBN Salsa is not very familiar with you yet, tell them a little bit about yourself. And of course, your coming to Jesus moment. Because I don't know if you grew up in church or if you had that moment where you're like, no, I'm a Christian. I'm gonna live for Christ. So tell us a little bit about you.
So yeah, I mean, I was raised in church my entire life. My parents have always been pastors. Yeah.
I didn't even know you were a PK.
Yeah. So I've been a pastor's kid my entire life. So either they were a pastor or they were like the assistant pastor.
Yeah.
So I was literally raised in church at the vigilias. All the revivals, that was me. At the campsites, that was me.
So you lived in church pretty much.
My entire
That's
life.
how kids are. They're
Exactly.
like, I'm sleeping on the pews.
Exactly. And it wasn't up until like I was maybe in high school is when I started like learning my faith for myself.
Yeah.
Kind of walking outside of my parents' shadows, interacting with other teenagers is when I started like there was another side to church.
Yeah.
And so seeing that is where I was able to then exercise my faith. There was a lot of things that I experienced, where it's crazy because being a pastor's kid, you're always told no. And then as soon as you see there's this whole world out there, it's like, wait a minute, like I'm the type of person, you told me not to put my finger in the socket, I'm gonna try it, just so I could even know whether to tell somebody else, hey, don't do it.
Don't do it.
And so going to high school and stuff like that, there was just is where I experienced a lot of things outside of the church, and so where I had to really fight for my faith,
I think that's important because for me, I had this crazy coming to Jesus moment, like, when I was 21. So I had lived a whole life already. I was already a pop star. Done a lot of crazy things. And then I was like Jesus is real, and he's the empty thing that I, he's the thing that's been empty or missing in my life. It's interesting to me. It's always interesting when people grow up in the church. And I don't know if it's harder or easier for you to have that like authentic moment.
Yeah. For me, it was literally when I was confronted with complete opposition, is where all my principles had to kick in, and either I had to choose, to pick those principles, or just get submersed in,
the world
opposition, and so.
So you joined Group One Crew when you were in high school, or like when does that
So we
happen?
started.
Because I know you were with them for 8 years.
It was like about
like
a decade.
lifetime,
No. So we were from here, from Orlando.
Yeah.
It all started just a group of friends coming together, making music. A lot of talented musicians here in Orlando, and we were like, you know what? Let's just come together and just do music together, And so that kind of evolved, and throughout the years, some people pursued other different, skill sets. And then at that point, once the label heard of us, it was just 3 of us remaining. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah.
So it was a bigger crew.
Oh, no, it was like
I didn't
13
know
of us.
that.
It was, we were like,
Wow.
yeah, we were like Wu-Tang. And then, yeah, it was 13 of us. And
But
then,
let
so,
me ask you this. How does a pastor's kid become a rapper? Because, you know, like, I don't know about old school church for
Yeah.
you, but I know I've spoken to people that old school church is like, hip-hop is not,
well,
that's
you know
not
what?
we
Like,
do.
growing up in church, I was always put on to, like, the Rene Gonzalez, you know, like the Ron Canolis,
Yeah.
you know, back in the day. And so that was at a very young age. That's what I was exposed to. But then my uncle gave me a tape of Tunnel Rats. I don't know if you're familiar with Tunnel Rats. Shout out to Macho.
Wow.
But yeah, so he gave me a tape from the group called Tunnel Rats, and when I listened to them, it was like, psh, like they,
That's you knew. That's
they
what
were,
you
they were,
wanted to
yeah,
do.
they were just real MCs, you know,
Wow.
just the lyrical quality was on point. And I was raised on listening to, you know, the Nas back in the day, Method Man,
Yeah.
you know, so I come from that era, Mos Def, Talib Kweli, and so,
That's some good rappers.
yeah, and so in the Christian market, we really didn't have anything like that back then.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't until later, maybe Cross Movement, you
Yeah.
know, joined the picture as well, you know. And so once I listened to Tunnel Rats, you know, and then Cross Movement is where I was like, I really love this stuff. And you know who I really like I fell in love with at first was Vico C.
Wow.
Yeah, when I first heard Vico C, I was like, this is what
is
I
it.
want to do. Yeah, and since then I started writing. I actually started writing lyrics in Spanish first.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then later on, I started writing in English, and then next thing you know, found this group of people in Orlando
Yeah.
who did music together, and we formed Grupo and Crew.
Yeah, and then you guys go on, you have amazing success. I mean, when I first came to the Lord, you guys, eventually I discovered you guys, because I'm like, you know, trying to find my own thing, just like you. I grew up, you know, listening to
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
gritty, like
Yeah.
that nitty gritty hip hop. I'm from New York, you know what I mean? So when I knew that there was hip hop and Christianity and, you know, or good pop music, I'm like, yes. And I fell in love with you guys. And then, you know, you guys go on, you win Dove Awards, you're touring all
Yeah.
over. And then you step away. So when you stepped away, I wasn't sure if you were leaving music
Yeah.
or not. So tell us a little bit about that. Like you're in music still.
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
fully in it.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit just about the transition and kind of where life took you to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. So music has been my entire life. Like that's all I've ever known since I was a kid. I got signed at a young age. Music always kind of paid my bills. I was producing here in Orlando.
Wait, could we just thank God for that?
Yo,
Like what other
hey.
musician or artist can say
Yeah, for
music
sure.
is paying their bills? They're like
Exactly.
starving.
Yeah, it's a blessing. It's such a blessing. I always either ran a studio, you know, owned a studio, produced music, and so it was always able to, you know, I was able to survive off of it, you know. And so getting signed at a young age, music is just all I ever known, you know. And so it came a point where getting caught up with the interviews, getting caught up with the tour life,
Yeah.
getting caught up traveling 5 days out of the week, being on the plane, you know, and it's just like, it can get really redundant, you know, if you're not careful with it. And so getting caught up in that, it's just, I slacked in other areas, you know, and there was other areas where I just didn't show much attention to, like my family, like my personal life, like my personal family, you know.
Yeah.
And so going through that process, me descuidé, you know.
Yeah.
And so, and then it came a point where I was like, wait a minute, I have to like stop, you know. I was so in love with music, you know. After a while, you just kind of, I fell out of love with music. It just became a 9 to 5 type of gig, you
And
know.
for an artist, because I'm an artist, that is like a nightmare. Like when when you feel like this is what you live and breathe to do, and you don't feel that love,
Exactly.
it's like a nightmare.
Yeah, so it got to the point where I'd get to the studio and it was just kind of like, it was just the same formula, you know, and it was just becoming redundant, you know. And so at that point is where I had hit the e-brake, you know. It's like there's just one saying that change before you have to, you know. And so it was those things where I just had to.
But you know what I'm amazed with is that most people are so obsessed with the fame and the, like chasing that
Yeah, yeah.
life, that they won't even take inventory and be like, where am I? Where am
Yeah,
I
yeah.
spiritually? Where am I with my family? Where am I with the things that, sustain us?
Exactly.
So that's amazing to me. It's such a mature thing to be able to do that. It's not an easy thing, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah. No, when life hits you, it's life. And when God gives you pop out, God gives you pop out.
And he'll give us pop out
Yeah,
for real.
He gives us pop out. So yeah.
Okay, so now what are you doing now? I mean, I know you're the CEO of One Alliance Group.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love, I know of I Am Brave, the women's conference that you do with
Yeah.
your beautiful wife, Akai.
Thank
But
you.
tell us a little bit just about, so how did life develop from there? Okay,
Yeah.
you hit E, you take inventory, and then all this other stuff starts to be born. Tell
Yeah,
us.
for sure. So kind of my journey was all music, and then coming out of music and being exposed with the labels, and I'm always reading. I have this huge library of just business entrepreneurship, and so whenever I was on tour, that's what I was doing. I was just reading,
That's amazing.
If I'm back in the hotel, I was reading. If I was in a plane, I was reading. I love to read, and so stepping away from music. Then a lot of people started contacting me and say like, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this? How do you do that? And so out of love, I was just sharing, just the insight. And then finally, I was like, wait a minute, I could package this, I could monetize
Yeah,
this.
I could get paid for this.
Exactly, And so so the next thing I was developing some artists. I was doing the branding. I was just consulting. And so that turned into One Alliance Group, which is, has been awesome. Done all of Tercer Cielo's branding, their last record.
They're awesome.
Jeremy, friend of ours,
Yes,
worked on
Jeremy
his stuff.
Rosado.
Yeah, and so so it kind of developed into that, and so it got to a place where that kind of took off on his own, and then from there, my mom went through a divorce, and so then I wanted to create something geared towards women, women in leadership. As women, you always have to kind of have this defense mechanism towards the opposite sex, because you never know if they're just helping out for
That's true.
a transaction, and so so I wanted to create something for women, and so I created a conference called I Am Brave here out of Orlando, and so we bring some of the top entrepreneur women of Orlando to come speak, share strategies and stuff. So yeah, so
Which is amazing. I mean, I was fortunate to sit in one of the I Am Brave meetings with all these powerful women, and then there's Pablo with his wife, and just hearing your heart is just amazing. I don't know many men that would actually think about that, just you got it from your mom. You were inspired from your mom. That's just so beautiful. And as I'm sitting there in the table, there's all these amazing, powerful women, and we're all in media or doing something big, right? And we don't have that community of women, because everybody's, you're like, I'm doing my thing, you think you're all that, and you don't have that community of people where you could just talk and be like, hey girl, I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
So I think that's just so important, and I just want to thank you.
No doubt, thank you.
And make sure y'all check it out, I Am Brave Conference, and if you guys had a successful one here in Orlando.
Yeah, in September, huh?
In September, yeah. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about the music now. So you do that. Your life is happening, you're a daddy now.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. A husband, a daddy, but you're still doing music.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's Christian hip hop. Do you call it Christian? Let's talk about that. Do you call it Christian hip hop?
Yeah, I mean, I don't call it Christian hip hop.
Okay.
I've never. It's funny if you ever go to a Walmart, you don't have. You have a Christian section for music, but you never have a Baptist section for hip hop. You don't ever have a 5%er section for hip hop. You don't ever have a Catholic section for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So why do we have a Christian section for hip hop? You know what I'm saying? I feel like in a way it minutes the opportunity for somebody who isn't in church to hear the music. I feel like music should just speak for itself. Now I am a believer, and Christ is my Lord and Savior. So if I want to speak that through my music, I'll speak about that. If I want to speak about my family experience, I'll speak about my family experience. So you will find that underlining factor of faith and God in it, and love and progression. You will find that in my music. but I just don't call it Christian hip hop because it's bigger than hip hop.
Yeah. So your new album is called Rebels and Legends.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's all written cool, so
Yeah.
I'm like, am I cool enough to even know what this says?
That's funny.
Rebels and Legends. I want to talk a little bit about just I want to stay here in this Christian and secular hip hop thing, because I know, like, Lecrae is notorious for saying, you know, I'm a rapper, not a Christian rapper, but obviously Christ is the message. He receives a lot of flack for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So you have the religious people that are like, but why wouldn't you say that? I know, I'm like, I got a pitchfork, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then you have like artists or people that understand. Like for me, I have an evangelistic heart. So for me, I'm always thinking, how can I reach them? You know, and I can be super, you know, I'll be just mad honest with my faith and stuff like that. But I still want to reach the person who doesn't know Christ.
Absolutely.
And like what you said to me was very important. But how do you balance now the secularism and getting, like, you know, is it something that is influencing hip hop, Christian hip hop? How do we kind of keep it so that it's not, that we keep it about the main thing, right? Because the main thing is obviously the message.
Yeah, absolutely. I think music is always a reflection of the heart. You know, so I mean, any arts, you know, any creative process is a reflection of your heart. You know, and so with music, I feel like the better hearts we have, the better music we have. You know, now when it comes to hip hop, I do feel like we are allowing mainstream to kind of influence the Christian community a lot, you know.
Is that a bad thing, or in your opinion? I don't
think
know.
I don't think
I don't know the answer, but I
don't
just
think
wanna
it's
hear.
a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing because then it pushes us to create better quality. You know, as far as the mainstream always has the better funds. You know, the mainstream always has,
You ain't lying.
just the capital, you know, just to do things really extravagant.
Yeah.
Now, in the Christian market, you know, we have to be very resourceful, you know. But I think now seeing the way mainstream does things, it just pushes us to create the same quality of it. Now, it's unfortunate that in mainstream hip hop, it just so happens that the lyrical quality is just, it seems like it's just getting worse and worse.
Oh my gosh, can we talk about that? Because there is nothing that breaks my heart more, just as somebody who loves music. And I wouldn't even just say it's the hip hop world, right? Because even in the pop world, I feel like it's getting a little bit better on that side. But the quality of music is like, I don't understand. Like, are people thinking anymore? Are you just in a cab and you're like, la 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 lee, and that's a new song? Like, I don't understand. What is it about that? Is even the culture of hip hop, is it becoming just a joke or watered down? Like, I love hip hop when it's like Tupac. Like, you know, when he's talking about his real life, when it's talking about pain, when it's talking about, I mean, obviously his content was a little out there for a Christian, but you know, he had heart. And I feel like for even Christians making hip hop, that's what I need to hear. And if I don't hear it, I check out.
No, again, I do feel like, again, hip hop is just a reflection of the heart, you know, and I'm a firm believer that a lot of times things have to get really, really bad in order for them to get really, really good, you know? So I think the more mainstream music becomes whack, you know, I think it's gonna create a stage for real quality to step up, you know? So you have, for example, you have 444, which is Jay-Z's record. If you listen to the record, it's not, the production is not like, oh my gosh, it's hot. The engineering is not all that whatever either, you know? But it was so opposite of what's happening in mainstream because he's actually saying something, you know? His whole record was towards progression, moving forward, that it highlighted it big time, you know? So let the mainstream do what they do. If they want to get worse, let them get worse, you know? I know that it's my responsibility to create dope music, to create music that is really good quality, that the lyrics are actually saying something, you know? It's funny because I get more love on secular radio stations than I do Christian radio stations, you know? Just because when they hear the lyrical content of it, they're like, hungry. Wow, like I needed to hear that because they're not getting that from the little.
So you know what?
You know what I'm
it's
saying?
a blessing. It's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, it
like,
absolutely
let
is.
it be whack, because then the Christians have a platform to share a message that
it creates an
matters.
opportunity for people who are actually saying something.
So you have
to
a
come up.
couple seconds here.
Yeah.
What's next?
a record. So I'm putting out a record called Rebels and Legends.
Yes.
There's some stuff that I can't talk about,
Okay.
but there's a lot of big things coming up. There's a lot of big things coming up now where there's a few labels that are involved. And so, so there's a few labels that are involved and that are interested in the project. So I'll be coming out with music
Yes.
soon.
Amen. Well, I'm
Yeah.
excited because right now I get to introduce one last time my dear friend Pablo, but he has a guest, a special guest on this new song, Datin'. If y'all know God Over Money, the movement, he's a part of it. I'm excited to have him, Pablo Villatoro, one last time singing his song, Dream Chasing.
Yeah, it's your boy Pablo and the big homie Datin'. We're out here dream chasing, loving life. Yeah, who would've thought I'd be living the dream? Celebrating with a team, making the killing. And with the homies riding clean on that grown man steez, now we aiming for the billions. Yeah, and yeah, we making a scene, cause if you would've seen what it took me to be this chillin', you be riding in the backseat, hanging out the window, screaming, oh, what a feeling. Yeah, it's all good vibes and blue skies. We celebrating poolside like the cool guys, and been buying the hood back before Rick Ross thought it was a cool hash for his new track. I got a lot to thank the Lord for. I lost a lot, but he tripled it up. I stay low though, and you can catch me on the promo, but you will never see me sitting in the backseat of the popo. Hey,
I'm just chasing
the dream, got the whole crew riding. Post it on the gram, see us win. Riding top down, snapping. Fake friends always play pretend.
So we blast in with the repeat.
Yeah, all shots cause we play to win. Yeah,
And the dream don't stop.
here we go.
Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. Then I called out of my day job, but ain't lie. I told him God gave these gray skies a paint job. The sun's out, and I deserve some hang time. I hung up and called up my main guys. I told him meet me at the beach, y'all got brain vibes, kids, whoever. Cause whenever the whole gang rides, everybody's on the same vibe. We keep our hands high, with all of this joy that we can't hide. We all celebrate our changed lives. We scream and praise God, we no longer see through the same eyes. We're free since we kissed them chains by. See in his name lies the power to make mountains move, the freedom that will make you soar like the Falcons do. And higher altitudes than the top of the out. My crew's on the same wave, we about this dude, got over money. Yeah, yeah,
We just chasing a dream, y'all.
come on. Posted on the gram, they can see us win. Yeah, fake friends always play pretend.
Come on,
So we blast in with the repeats.
cause we play to win. That's right.
And the dream don't stop when it ends. Don't need the luxuries, honey.
We don't need the luxuries.
No, we don't.
Found